Venezuelan situation. Um, okay, as I was saying earlier, well, I mean, haven't logged in yet in a while. So um, the Venezuelan government, part of the government, like the vice president, um, you know, quite often people wonder, well, what happened? How can we just go in there and extract someone like that and just come out, right? So the answer to that is very simple. Part of his government was sold out. The VP, the current president now, the one who's the acting president, she sold out. Military sold out. Um, those in and around sold out. I mean, this is a bad character, anyways. Maduro is, um, you know, he is not one of those people that you can kind of say, um, you know, you're proud to have him as a leader. So that's pretty evident from his character all these years, right? So, and um, you know, I've been saying that I think Biden protected him for whatever reason, but he had to go because you know once he after Chavez passed away, he put him in charge because he was going to follow that whole theme of nationalizing the oil and things like that, which didn't set well with a lot of countries, including, well, of course, United States. We are not going to have that guy control uh, that much resources. You know, he has more resources than Saudi Arabia does. I know most people don't realize that this is hard crude, um, and it is difficult to refine. But that said, it is it's it's a it's a difficult thing, difficult situation because we didn't want to take him out, but we had to, right? Anyone especially if you're gonna attack the Iranians now, uh, they can cut off the Strait of Hormuz, right? So if they do that, that puts the United States in the rest of the world in quite a bit of problem because there's a lot of oil flows out of there. So, um, and that said, um, now when I was saying it's not like crude. It's harder to refine, but he has so much of it. Um, Venezuela has so much of that hard crude under the ground. It's harder to refine, but there's so much supply there. So several $1 trillion in worth, I would say. Um, so um, that said, it was a kind of a necessary thing to take him out. Now that the current administration is looking at attacking Iran, and that may happen, by the way, very shortly within the next, I would predict within the next 30 days or so. And it's a given that we're planning that. It's when you listen to the White House, you can tell that's coming. So the protests in Iran, they're escalating, and they're typically you know kind of instigated by MEK. It's a group. It's kind of a We declared them a terrorist group at one time, but now we're working with them. So that tells you something. They're the ones that are planning all these protests in Iran, and but Iran is next. Iran is business unfinished. That's the way I see it. Uh, Previous administration, including George Bush Jr., didn't have the courage to go in there because they were worried about uh, being um, kind of choked out by the Strait of Hormuz, but there's a lot of the oil flows there, and uh, the Iranians could cut that part off in the Persian Gulf. So it was a difficult situation for any any president to go to make that decision to attack the Iranians. So what we did now, the current administration, by kind of taking out Maduro, uh, if 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 and when their attack happens on the Iranians, and I think it's coming, it would be a lot easier on us as far as balancing out the if the supplies are affected coming out of Saudi Arabia and some of the other Gulf states. We could balance it out with the Venezuelan hard crude because Saudi Arabia has similar type of crude oil that comes out of the ground. In Saudi Arabia, it's a hard crude. Like I said, it's a hard to refine, but um, that's what all these companies use. Like most of the companies use hard crude. Light crude comes out of the northern part of the Atlantic. Um, Easier to refine, but you don't have very much of it out there. So that's it. Saudi Arabia could get affected by the Iranians bombing the uh, eastern fields in Saudi Arabia if they're attacked. And then two things are going to happen if the current administration decides to attack Iran, right? And I think everyone understood when I said it's going to balance out, Venezuela is going to balance out Saudi Arabia and the other Gulf states that are producing the similar kind of crude. I think everyone understands that now. I hope making that point kind of clear. So, um, and then the supplies are somewhat choked out for a little bit while the attack is happening or the war is ongoing. Um, we could take care of ourselves and some of the other countries as well. So, um, and it would be a lot easier on the world if if Iran actually goes through a regime change. Um, it's going to be difficult. Iran is always a difficult case. It's not Iran. It's the size, four times the size of um, Iraq. So this is not a small country, and there are a lot more younger generation there that can be mobilized to fight. So we can um, we can be certain that it's going to be a tough fight. If you do surgical strikes, then Iranians would cut off the supply coming out of the Strait of Hormuz for a while, and Venezuela will balance us out. So that's why Trump decided to go after Maduro and actually made a deal with the um, rest of his administration and the military. Because look, they played dead when we came in, so isn't it obvious that someone was bought out there? Because the entire regime is intact, but then Maduro was plucked out of there because he didn't want to listen. So he acted stupid in that way, where the current administration was telling him that, look, we need to make a deal. Uh, we could get engaged in the Middle East. That your oil could balance us out, and we need you to let us refine more oil and things like that. Get more crude oil out of there, not refine. But he was already trading it, but he was doing it under the table, kind of under the sanctions. It was a lot cheaper, selling it a lot cheaper than the Americans or our administration would. So once you take it over, you're wondering what would happen. Well, they will take it over, and then the oil fields, like all the Chevron, Exxon, all BP, will move in and start to streamline the operation there, the oil fields and stuff, so they could extract the oil properly and send it out to refineries in the West. A lot of it will come to Texas, some of it will go to other parts and probably parts of Europe. BP may take a lot of that oil. Um, so Chevron, Exxon, all these companies are crucial in refining it. So Why you ask? I answered that question. There, if we attack the Iranians, Venezuela would balance the hard crude that comes out of Saudi Arabia, which would naturally be affected. So I think everyone understands. So bearing that in mind, you know that I'm saying that in my analysis, about less than 40 days, we will probably attack the Iranians. I think the current administration is bold enough to do it. And naturally, I think the Israelis would back us up in there as far as, taking some of that heat from the Iranians. Because two places the Iranians will launch, right? They will launch their attack against the Israelis first as a retaliation. And then second, they will try to choke out the Strait of Hormuz in the Persian Gulf and possibly, more than likely, attack the eastern fields in Saudi Arabia uh, that produce a lot of oil for the West. So um, we can be certain that that's coming. So if anyone has a question with regards to that, you can ask in the chat here. But um, this is the very first live stream, and um, let's see, hang on a second. I am working on this thing while I'm talking to everyone. Basic moderation, none. Viewers, polls, subscribers, wiki polls. Okay, so comments, hashtag save. Okay, so we're still live streaming, guys, and um, let me know how the sound is coming, and then I'll keep talking. So moving on to from the Iranians, we're going to Greenland. Here's a situation with the Greenland um, being targeted, right, by the current administration. Um, and he's absolutely right. Uh, because of this Venezuela excursion, um, where we plucked Maduro out of there, Chinese um and the Iranians and the Russians are really looking to maneuver themselves in North Atlantic with regards to Greenland um, and in and around the Greenland area. So this is what the move towards Greenland is. We already have some of the rights as far as minerals and things of that sort with the Denmark government, but that's who owns Greenland. And so we have made deals with them, but not in the sense where we have our name on there, right? So that's what they're protesting, that you can um, take the mineral rights, we'll give you mineral rights, we'll give you all sorts of things, but we can't let you annex it in the way you're trying to annex it. Okay, so here's what could happen if the United States, leave Trump out of this, if United States were to ignore this, Greenland, which is a very strategic waterways in the North Atlantic. Russia and China are more than likely looking to move strategically in and around there, if not in Greenland itself. So they're maneuvering, and this could happen very soon. So when Trump says that he is actually doing it because if he doesn't, then Chinese and Russians will move in, he's 100% right, because they see that as a strategic value there. So there's a lot of maneuvering going on under the Atlantic, where the submarines and stuff are circling around there. So we can see that through the satellites, and that's how we know they're looking to maneuver there. The intel, I'm sure, the current president is getting the intel on it. That, look, the Chinese and Russians, Iranians, they're all looking to kind of collaborate together in a strategic way to counter the United States. So that's a given that's about to go down in the next few months. But Iran is definitely next, so keep an eye on Iran. And I would say 35 to 40 days before Iran is uh, surgically struck. That's my timeline, my assessment. I don't have any kind of intel, of course. I'm not privy to anything. No one is. So these are all just assessment based on previous kind of engagements. So uh, right after that, and it could be simultaneous, where Greenland is kind of um, Greenland comes into play. So don't be surprised. Both of them happen in the next 40 to 60 days. Iran, so Venezuela already happened, Iran, and then Greenland. There's some rumblings about attacking Mexico and for the drug cartel there and the Canadians, um, because what I don't believe that he would um, administration would attack the Canadians, but uh, Canadians are nervous, to say the least, because, well, rightfully so, because if they, have the um, Americans target them in some way, they could be make it could make life pretty difficult for them, and I think they understand that, and they're trying to maneuver with other countries. The Prime Minister of Canada was in Mexico trying to communicate with Sheinbaum there to make sure that her government is collaborating with the because both of them were affected as far as you know Trump has said that, well, I'm targeting cartels there in Mexico, and Canada is also kind of partially responsible for some of the drugs being manufactured and sent into United States, which we know is kind of like not true, but as far as the Canadians go, but China is definitely sending through all the fentanyl through Mexico, through the drug cartel. So it's really true about the Mexicans in that sense, where they are a resource for the Chinese to send the fentanyl through Mexico um, up the Rio Grande. So, anyways, I'm gonna cut loose, end this thing. Thank you for watching.